Hello, everybody. This is Atlanta News First anchor Alan Devlin here, joining you again this fine Thursday evening. I hope you guys are having a wonderful start to your evenings, or if you're getting ready to go to bed, or just getting off work, or whatever it may be doing, finishing up dinner. Thank you for sitting and speaking with me here for a little bit. Let's chat about what's going on in Atlanta on a national stage and an international stage as well. A couple of stories. The first thing I want to start with, though, is something that was just breaking into our newsroom. We have learned that a former NFL player has been arrested and charged in connection to a human trafficking ring. This coming out of Gwinnett County. That NFL player's name, Eric Dwayne Johnson, and he played linebacker at one point in Atlanta for the Atlanta Falcons. For the Raiders and also for the Cardinals. And so we are, again, just into the newsroom just now. We're working on getting more details. We have obtained a mugshot from the Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office, but we are still working to learn more and carry this at 9, beginning at 9 o'clock on television on Peachtree TV with Rick and Sean, and then again at 10 with myself and Savannah, and then once again at 11. We'll have more information as we move forward, but again, breaking: former Atlanta Falcons player and former NFL player Eric Dwayne Johnson has been arrested and charged in Gwinnett County in connection to a human trafficking ring. So, moving on from that breaking news, the top story for the day absolutely has been this partial release of the special grand jury's report into the 2020 election interference, alleged election interference, and that probe into whether or not Trump and his allies were engaging in illegal activities back when it looked like he was going to lose that 2020 presidential election. This has been our top story all day. We've had team coverage throughout the evening here discussing this report. Now, it was just a partial release, so we got the first page and the back page, the introduction and the conclusion. You're looking at the conclusion right now, and basically this is the most important part right here on your screen. The grand jury recommends the district attorney seek appropriate indictments for such crimes where the evidence is compelling, and they're saying that a majority of the grand jury found that one or more of the witnesses they interviewed, 75-something witnesses were interviewed in total, one or more of these witnesses committed perjury, which is basically lying under oath, one or more. And they want the special counsel to move forward with these recommendations. And so what you have is no names, no mention of anybody specifically, no mention of the former president. We don't know who they are referring to. We just know the what. This came down earlier this afternoon, early afternoon, I should say. You're looking at video of the Fulton County Courthouse, kind of the center of this whole thing. This started back in 2020 when then President Donald Trump made a phone call to our Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, discussing the election results here in Georgia. I want to play a piece of that phone call really quick. Take a listen.
Look, Brad, I have to find 12,000 votes, and I have them. I just want to find 11,780 votes.
And so those statements are kind of what got this thing going. Brad turned over that phone call, and he has been participating in the grand jury investigation as well. He was one of those witnesses. Trump's asking to find 12,000 votes is seen by many as an attempt to illegally or convince Raffensperger to illegally find 12,000 votes. We know Trump lost by a little over 12,000 votes here in Georgia, making Joe Biden the Democratic winner in Georgia as a president for the first time in almost 30 years. It was 1992, so it had been a very long time. That report coming down. More to come. We will learn more in the days to come, the weeks to come, the months to come. No indictments have been placed. That's up to District Attorney Fani Willis. Once she makes that call, Atlanta News First will lead the way as far as getting you that information as quickly as we possibly can. The next story I want to talk to you guys about is out of DeKalb County. A plane actually went down on one of the runways. Actually, it wasn't a runway. It was in a grassy field at the airport at PDK. And we've learned that the two people on board were a flight teacher and a flight student. that plane had engine failure and it went down on the airport. What I can show you is a little bit of video of the crash site. You can see the plane right there. It was missing a wing. Our chopper flew over it earlier today. Tori Cooper has been following this story all day. She'll have more coming up at 9 o'clock. Thankfully, both people on board are okay. They survived and they've got injuries, but not life-threatening injuries, that coming from DeKalb County. And so, again, we're trying to figure out what caused this engine to fail in this plane, single engine Piper aircraft. Once we get more information, we will be sure to let you know. And the final story I want to talk to you guys about is one that if you are plugging in your car every day and you haven't looked at a gas price in a long time, you might want to listen up, because Tesla is recalling 250,000 vehicles with that self-driving feature that made Tesla so famous. It's faulty, and Tesla's trying to fix it. And a report has come out that says that Tesla, these vehicles, can basically commit traffic violations in that self-driving mode in rare occasions. You can't have that. You don't want a car that's going around breaking the law. So any vehicle with that self-driving feature has been recalled by Tesla and is going to be reviewed, and they're hoping they can get this fixed. That might be a software update, that might be a hardware component, but once Tesla comes forward with more information outside of just the safety of its users and other drivers on the roads as well, we will learn more information. But if you have a Tesla in Atlanta, and they're big in Atlanta, they're big in these big cities because we've got the infrastructure to support these EV vehicles. If you have EVs, EV vehicle is redundant. If you have an EV, make sure that you are checking to make sure that your Tesla is not one of these vehicles recalled. This is one of the biggest recalls Tesla has done. They've got a history of recalling cars, but this one specifically is a very wide-ranging recall. Those are the stories I wanted to talk to you about for this evening. Honestly, something that's also incredibly important is the weather that's coming our way. We've got a system moving towards us. You couldn't tell really if you looked at this weather cam looking over Midtown, but I can tell you that, is it tonight moving into tomorrow, Patrick, that we're going to have trouble?
Yes, sir. We're already tracking that rain starting to move into portions of West Georgia, and we're looking at a severe weather risk through the evening hours. Now, we are talking about a level 1 out of 5 risk for strong storms for a large chunk of the state, but where you see the yellow, that slither of northwestern Georgia is under that level 2 out of 5 risk for strong storms. So yes, it was a gorgeous day today. Temperatures climbed into the 70s for most of us. Dew points have been elevated, but not too crazy. So there's not a whole lot of energy out there for these thunderstorms to tap into, but it's going to bring its own energy with it, and that's what we're tracking as we head through the overnight hours. We're talking about pockets of heavy rain. Our primary concern, mainly north and west of Atlanta, but some of our northernmost suburbs could actually pick up on some good rain. Meanwhile, isolated damaging wind and some lightning are both in the cards as we head into the evening. That tornado risk is there, but it's on a very low end, and we're talking about that extreme western corner of the state. That's going to have our best opportunity of seeing any of that. So here's how we get through the next few hours. Rain's going to start to increase, and by roughly 10 to 11, we're expecting a lot more folks to be picking up on some of those showers, and that rain is going to become more widespread as we head into the overnight. And there's going to be a lull in the precip, but that secondary line is going to eventually slide in as we head into the early morning hours, and I do expect some lingering showers for the morning drive. Now, it looks like most of the energy is going to be gone at that point, so we're just talking about some rain for the morning drive. Nonetheless, that first alert lingering through roughly 8 a.m., and then we'll start to see things dry out on the backside. And the winds, of course, are going to shift direction. So instead of being a southerly wind that's going to bring temperatures into the 70s, we're going to see a northerly wind that's going to bring some cooler air for your Friday. Here's a look at the forecast rain totals, and you can see there is going to be a line of demarcation, a line where temperature or rain totals are going to drop off, but we do expect widespread totals upwards of an inch, especially for that northwestern corner of our region. That's going to be where we have the best potential to see some training of some of these cells. On the backside of that, we're talking about temperatures that are going to be dropping through the day. So early morning numbers are actually going to be in the 50s, but afternoon temperatures are going to spend most of the day in the 40s. Now, we're talking about winds that are going to be out of the northwest, roughly 15 to 20 miles per hour, but gusting as high as 30. So that's really just going to cause temperatures to plummet And then it's also going to introduce wind chills to the forecast. And we always talk about wind chills, and a lot of times people think it's just an arbitrary number that we like to make up. And I'll be very direct with some of the critiques that I've seen in places like Facebook. Folks have said things like, oh, wind chills, that's just the number y'all make up to have a story. Actually, no. Think about it like this. So your body, you've heard people talk about body heat, right? We all have body heat. Well, what happens in a regular day is that we're walking around with our body heat that is right next to us. And even though it's cold outside, we throw on a jacket, and the jacket keeps us warm, but it also traps our body heat close to our bodies. Well, on days when it's windy, essentially that wind is blowing our body heat away. So our little bubble that keeps us a little bit warmer than the ambient atmosphere is not there. So our skin is actually going to feel colder than the environment. So that's what we mean by wind chill. It's what your body feels, it's what you experience. It's an actual feel-like temperature. And those feel-like temperatures are going to be very cold as we head into your Friday. We're talking about feeling like the low 40s by noon, and then feeling like the upper 20s by 9 o'clock. And listen, it's Friday night, payday. Lots of folks probably looking to get out and about Friday night. Listen, make sure that you have that jacket with you. It is not going to be fun if you're in the streets at 10 o'clock tomorrow night with no thick jacket, because it's going to be really cold and it's going to be really windy. And that's going to be our story as we head into the start of your Saturday. Temperatures are going to drop through the overnight, and we're all going to start off the morning sub-freezing. What's going on, Michael? Good evening. Randy, hopefully you're having a good night. No problem, man. It's going to change. We went from the low 70s today to being in the low 50s Friday afternoon, and we're going to start off below freezing on Saturday morning in most of the state, and then we'll see a little bit of a bounce. Lots of sunshine and lots of dry time for the weekend, so as long as you don't mind bundling up, you're going to be good. And actually it gets better as we head into your Sunday. But Saturday afternoon's temperatures max out in the 50s, and then we're cooling back down as we head into the evening. So some very chilly temperatures, at least for the first half of the weekend. But the good news, trouble don't last always, is what they used to tell us back in Louisiana. And temperatures do rebound as we head into your Sunday. Good mix of sun and clouds, and we're actually getting back into the 60s through the afternoon, and then even warming as we head into next week. The 70s make a triumphant return by Monday afternoon when you're heading back to work. A few showers possible Tuesday with cloud cover. That's going to taper down on the temperatures, but check out Wednesday and Thursday's high. Yeah, there's a chance of rain both days, but look at those highs, 77, 79. We're talking about flirting with 80 degrees by the middle of next week, and most of the data that we're seeing right now is trying to shoot those temperatures Thursdays into the low 80s, so we're going to fine tune that for you over the course of the next couple of days. Lots of changes. Biggest change, though, happening as we head through tonight. Of course, we have your first alert weather team here. We are 4 deep right now, tracking these showers and storms as they're going to be moving into the region. You can count on us to give you updates on when these thunderstorms get stronger. Fred is right now in the back studying and diving into the thunderstorms that are right now moving through Alabama, so that we can give you some up-to-the-minute info on when it's going to move in and what those impacts are going to be. So check out Fred tonight at 9. I'm going to have an update for you at 10 as well. And then, of course, before we at least officially sign off at 11 o'clock, Fred's going to give you one more update. And, of course, give you that first alert 3-degree guarantee, because you know what? We hit that number again today, so we're throwing another $50 at House Proud. But on top of that, we're going to be here through the night tracking these showers and storms. So if you had that first alert weather app, you'll get notified if we have to cut in and go live and track some of these storms. You'll be the first to know what we're seeing when we see it. I'm going to leave you with the 7-day one more time so you can prepare for the big time temperature drop that's coming, for those showers in the morning. And then, of course, at least make plans for Sunday afternoon, because we'll get back into some pretty comfortable temperatures. But y'all make it a good night, and we will see you at 9.